So I've been a principal for 10 years, and I can tell you that each year um, we feel the drain, to use that term, that not just on students. I mean, we've seen the rise of anxiety and depression in students and stress in students, um, but also on teachers. And so managing that at a site level with your kids and your families, and then managing your staff to work through that, that can then have a drain on you as well. Because the work that you do to do it well, it has to come from a place of heart. You can't be a robot and do this job. It's a people person job, completely 100%. For me, about three or 4 years ago, I had to learn how to deal with that. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to sustain the work, um, let alone my health. So I first became aware of EQ schools. Maybe it was just prior to EQ schools starting up, but I came into contact with Roni and had Roni come in and do some training with my staff around getting mindfulness to kids. And he's just so invigorating and life-giving that I wanted to work with him personally more. So I started attending and sending some of my staff to EQ Summit, some of those events. Attended his first leadership summit, and then last year's leadership retreat. And so I got so much out of it. Both just a recharge for the end of the year. Well, my tank was depleted, I'll say, and it got refilled at that retreat last summer, and then that carried on. All of that energy carried on to this last school year. And so I put into practice as much as possible the things we talk about, and the skills that we learn as well. So I found it through doing mindfulness activities and then hooking up with EQ schools. And what I like about EQ schools is it works on delivering the skills and the care to the caregiver. And so what I'm finding is that if I'm in taking care of my well-being and I'm walking the walk, then my staff feels that and walks the walk, and I'm making sure that I'm checking in with them about their own well-being, and then that just trickles down to the students. Because I see teachers being themselves more in the classroom, laughing more, taking risks more, being more vulnerable. I think when students see that their teacher up in front of the room or on the side of the room or wherever they're standing, modeling that for them and doing that with authenticity, then that allows students another measure or sense of safety, personal and emotional safety, to be themselves as well. And so I have seen an effect in the last 3 years with that work. Kids do feel free to be themselves. So I especially, not just in the classroom, but when I'm working individually with students, I use a lot of the skills that we talk about here at these workshops with the students themselves, and help them to understand their own feelings, their own self-awareness. I'll give you an example. A student will do something behaviorally that gets to my office, and we'll go through the why. Now, why did that happen? And they'll say, well, I was angry. And I'll say, is being angry okay? And a lot of them say, no, it's not. And then we take a step back and say, wait a minute, anger is an emotion. Is it okay to be happy? Yes, of course it's okay to be happy. Well, it's okay to get angry. It's what we do with that anger. So by going around it that way with students, helping students to develop their own self-awareness, that way when they get in that situation again, they can make a better decision when they're in that state.